Puffles.
RJ Decker, Tuesday on CTV. Stream next day on Crave.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
All right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app. Your home smart speaker up on TSN 4, up on YouTube Live. Brian Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan.
What's going on today?
How are we feeling this afternoon?
Thought I had a break from you guys on Friday. My daughter was a little under the weather, and I said, wherever you want to eat dinner, I'll take you. And she said, Dad, I want to go have some pasta at Tesoro up in Collingwood. Beautiful spot. Beautiful. I walk in, I look up, and there's a TV in the corner. And guess what Chef Tony watches every single day?
I love it. Chef Tony, that's authentic.
Yeah, dude, this guy's a stud. He makes
Chef
a calamari
Tony.
and a pasta. Like, honestly, go there and say, I'll have O-Dog's calamari, and I'll pay for it. It's that good.
Okay.
But anyway,
awesome.
The weird thing is there's no volume. So
No, I know that. It's so funny.
Like, does somebody actually want to see our heads bobbing like bobbleheads for 2 hours?
Yes. They do. They absolutely do. That's the beauty of it, right? That's why Joe from the Bridge is the MVP of the show often, because he's got the different things up on the screen, what we say, what we're saying, who's on, which direction we're taking the conversation.
So they're just like, they're following along, and they're like, I bet you that guy's carving that guy.
Absolutely.
Like, oh,
absolutely.
I guess, man,
but,
yeah.
Listen,
beautiful thing.
You can't escape us, because Saturday night, Hayes and I were together at a function, and as I was driving home or in my car, I looked, and there was a bar to the right, and I think they had like the best of OverDrive or whatever.
That's getting a lot of pub.
It is getting some play. I will say, I don't know who did it, but I think it's awesome. I enjoyed watching it. It was funny.
I saw it the other day. Like, it's got everything. It's got my Megan Fox hang up when I was trying to play cool with Megan
this
Fox.
best of, it's not like from the last 2 weeks. It's
no,
ever.
it's like the last 15 years.
Yeah.
So how long is the
material.
show? Please tell me there's like a couple hours worth.
There's 90 minutes. Remember when we had our 10-year anniversary, and I think they've condensed it down to maybe 3 different options. I actually have no idea, to be honest with you.
So I was thinking to myself, like, do I got to be good now, like, every day? Like, they're going to put this out, like, every Tuesday?
You might. Isn't that the point of all this? Try and be good every night. We don't have great shows every day, but
every day.
That's like somebody said, you really want me to try every shift? Like every time I'm on the ice, you want me to actually work hard? But I think those shows are great. I mean, I sat with the kids the other day. It was on just a random afternoon on the weekend. I'm
Same
like,
thing.
what is this?
I saw my neighbor the other day, my neighbor Dave. He goes, I was falling asleep, and there's OverDrive best of. I'm like, I think that's a compliment. I'll take that. I think he stayed up about an extra 5 minutes before he took a snooze.
Before we put him to sleep.
Right before we put him to sleep. But, yeah, today's going to be a best of, though, right? We got to bring the heat today. I've got an updated bar play. I've got an updated bar play list that we'll get to later in the hour. Oh, you can take a twirl. 2 sweeps in the first round, right? You called it.
You guys called it. I didn't. I was off on I thought, Brian, you were with there, too.
I was thinking I thought the Kings were getting swept, and they did. That one I was not surprised by at all. L.A., you can make an argument, truly one of the worst playoff teams of all time. Like, the fact that they made the playoffs. You look at the amount of wins in regulation they had, it was like them in like Chicago were equal.
Yeah, they had like 20. Yeah, they had like 20.
They were a terrible hockey team. They fired their coach a month ago. They got in, and it helped the Leafs because the Lawton trade got better. But LA's terrible.
Didn't I say to you? I said to both of you, like, why'd they need Panarin for that? Like, I don't understand. Like, is that like for Kopitar? Like, you hear about all these deals. Like, Vancouver tried to sign a bunch of guys to make Quinn Hughes happy. Like, did they go out and get Panarin for Kopitar to say we can't let this? Like, well, why'd you need him? I don't know. Your team's not that good.
Leaves, right?
Well, they lost Fiala at the Olympics too, right? So maybe they were looking for a replacement for Fiala. But at the end of the day, they're going to have Kopitar's money come off the books. They're going to have a reset. You're seeing the one thing that stood out for me in the playoffs so far is these young teams are not afraid, and that's the one. There's 4 young teams, including Montreal, which is an exciting, skilled young team. That was a hell of a game.
Great game
last night.
Great.
And we got to get into I don't know if the refs have had their best run here, but there's some calls and some non-calls. The Edmonton game, I thought that was a goal. I'm sorry. I thought it looked to me like it went over the.
I agree with you that they got it right. I also agree with a lot of people who have been saying I don't know how the ref called it in live.
Agreed.
I know why. I know why, boys.
Why?
Okay?
Why?
Okay.
Why?
Lavi was great at this, and every coach who has half a brain, which it's debatable in the National Hockey League, I think a big part of the reason, because the refs weren't in position of it, but every coach will tell you if it's close or it looks like it, even with video replay, you act like you scored a goal. You jump up and down, and you act like it goes in. Because you watch, this ref is in no position, and this goes behind the net. Yeah. These guys are like, goal, that's in. So the ref's like, hang on a sec, maybe that was in. How else would they call that a goal? And look at this one, Ottawa, Carolina. Brady Tkachuk's like, that's in. That ref was pointing to the other side of the net. Yeah. He's like, I have no idea. So if you're just around the net and there's any kind of situation like that, you just jump up and be like, point in there, and then all of a sudden, I think it was reactionary from the refs, especially the one in Carolina. The ref saw Brady Tkachuk, and then he was like, goal, in, it's in. And it's like, you didn't see anything.
The human element. It does work, you're right.
And the selling of calls and not calls in Montreal, it glances or doesn't glance, and I'm pro ref. I always try to be, because they've got a live view of it. They don't have the luxury of us, multiple views, all of that type of stuff. But there's been some funky stuff that have happened, and whether it's a call or non-call, people in Montreal are pissed today because that changed how. That high stick.
I agree, Noodles, but I thought the Kucherov slash at the end of the game was so weak.
Yes,
agreed.
So
that was
garbage call.
And so you had a chance to tie it up, and
you're
you didn't
right.
take advantage. I couldn't believe that Kucherov call.
That was garbage. Some of the refs have got to be getting better.
I
don't know how I don't know who they get involved, or I don't know what, even if Billy McCreary's involved again, but get somebody on site like every night. I don't know. It's got to be better than what it is. There's some nonsense going on out there. Ticky-tack calls, missed calls.
I think what they're pissed about, too, is, guys are selling it. Sidney, we argued about it on Friday. Did Sidney Crosby sell that? Did he, and refs are like, the hell with you. You're making me look bad. I'm going to write you up type of thing. And I think there is a lack of trust of what's going on out there. But there's been either a call or missed calls or whatever. Some great hockey, but getting back to my original point, you're seeing, young legs and teams that are young and skilled and exciting, doing some damage and not being afraid of the moment.
Big
and that's
time.
what's really impressive for the league moving forward.
It is. Like, there appears to be a bit of a turnover going on right now, and we'll see. Utah's got a chance to put their dagger in Vegas tonight. We'll see, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if they won. Buffalo goes into Boston, and they just dismantled the Bruins.
That was an ugly game.
Completely dismantled them, and the Habs are right there with Tampa. Like, it is a coin flip of a series.
That's a hell of a series, though. Like, what's missing? What's missing from that series?
I guess the fourth overtime last night. I thought it was going to go to overtime.
I called my buddy last night. Well, he called me, and we were talking. He loves talking hockey, and he's down in North Carolina saying, "This Habs team, man, God, they look good, and this and that." And I said, they have to understand the magnitude of this moment, because they got a team in the Tampa Bay Lightning that is battle-tested. They're champions. They got one of the best coaches to ever coach in the National Hockey League, and they're sleepwalking right now. They're sleepwalking. They haven't played that good. A lot of their top players had not been good in the series. And if Montreal had made that 3-0 and stole that game, they just would have had so much of a better opportunity. And boom, that hit changed everything last night. And all of a sudden, Vasilevsky started getting horny back there and making big saves. And goals started going in, and Kucherov and Gensel. And it's like, what in the hell do we have on our hands now in a matter of 15 minutes of play right now? I don't know what this hit did to the bench, but right after it, it woke everybody up. And it was a completely, like people talk about series-changing plays or hits or fights. That might be one for Tampa, because Montreal, it was a big time miss not getting that one, especially up 2-0, man. Because now they're awake and they're alive and they're dangerous.
Okay, so I got something for O because an analytics guy sent me a note because you tweeted something out about saying there's no stat
graph.
For that.
There's no graph for that, is there?
He sent me a graph and said the hit, and then you watch Tampa go boom straight up and Montreal go straight down. And it was it's a pretty.
There is actually.
He said there is.
Shut up. The hit.
Shut up. There's no graph.
No, there's no graph for the initial hit and the instinct and the stones it takes to throw.
I got to turn it. It said expected goals, and he points out where the hit is, and then you look at Tampa Bay go straight up, and Montreal flatlines.
I love that. I love that.
I laughed.
Save it for MJ tomorrow for Dis or Data.
He's tongue-in-cheek, and he loves you, but he was just like, tell O there actually is like some form of an analytic.
It was Mike Kelly. That was Mike Kelly that sent you that. I know.
You know what I think is happening right now? At a restaurant downtown, we're on mute, and Keith Pelly's watching us, and I like that. I like that a lot.
Wow.
And I'm going to apply it to where the Maple Leafs are going in the future.
Okay, so
but here's the reality. Let me finish. Let me get a point in here.
Sorry.
That hit, what it really does is took the crowd completely out of it. Because that place was going nuts.
Yeah, silence
right?
is the place.
Serge Savard comes out to start the evening. He's got,
he's
it's
a
just
good-looking dude.
Serge still got his great hair going. He looks phenomenal. The jersey pops, and the place is going bananas.
That building looked like it was literally
amazing. And the Habs score first, and then they score second. And I know the feeling. I can put myself in that building as if you're a Habs fan, you're thinking, this is it. Like, they're going to win the game now. They're going to go up 3-1, and they're going to take control of this. And then the hit, Kucherov, like, it's such a beautiful setup. Hagel he's got a Dave Anderchuk vibe, our boy Darcy Tucker when he had big years. Go to the net with your stick down, and Kucherov will find you. He might hit you in the chest, and it's going to go in. But it was just a beautiful kind of reversal of the fortunes of the series, and I agree with you, Owen. Was such an opportunity for Montreal. Different from Edmonton, because Edmonton was down 2-1 in the series. When they went up 2-0 early, and I don't know how you guys felt, but I'm like, there's no way they're winning this 3-1. Like, there's no way the Oilers have been playing. Yeah. And it would just be too easy of a storyline that they put Jarry in and they actually make it easy and they win 3-1 and go home tied. Yeah. Of course, they blow that and then they lose in overtime. But it was a series-changing, game-changing play. And I think that's going 7. And I think that's, if you're a hockey fan, that's what you want, right? Montreal and Tampa, it's a great series. Big characters, great crowds, great history between the two teams. It's going to be awesome.
That rink, like I can't, there's some buildings that pop. That seemed like that was on another level.
Right.
But
not at the end, level. Like when Hagel scored, you could hear a pin drop.
Oh, I get it. I'm just saying the excitement around the building, the excitement. Like, we talk about it all the time. Buzz in the city. Like, you get near that city. I have 2 buddies that were there saying that the city's just literally been electric. And my buddies like to enjoy themselves. And they've been having a time.
Well,
win,
Friday
loser.
night
when Hudson
overtime?
Puts it under the bar, you win in overtime. There's your bar play.
Oh, yes.
You had. I guarantee you have a Hudson on the list.
Well,
maybe not.
I got to be honest. There's a couple I've got 2 goalies on the list now, Noodles. I put 2 goalies. I can get to my bar play list whenever you guys want it.
Well,
if you guys are thirsty, I've got a couple of rounds of drinks for you guys. We'll do it later this hour.
Yeah, do it later. I'm just saying, like that.
Blaine Hudson's not on it. You're a disgrace.
Well, I'm just telling you.
Yeah, but he didn't have as.
There's a lot of teams that are doing well.
Yeah.
Like
you have time to text Joe from the bridge.
I might, because here's the thing. Here's what I ended up doing.
Don't do me dirty like that. And have him on there.
What I ended up doing was, and this is such a greasy play. We do this every year with the top 50 list. We always talk about it. Like, wow, we missed. We better get an extra goalie in there. We'll slide him in at 50th or whatever. And I was looking at Carolina or Colorado. I'm like, I don't have an Avalanche on the list. They just swept L.A. Like, I got to have someone.
Without a ton of production from Natchez and McKinnon. I think McKinnon got his first goal yesterday.
That's why I was going to put him on. I'm like, he scored. He's finally gotten a series. I mean, he's played well and played fine. I'm going to rearrange it. I think you're right. I'm gonna do that for later in the hour. Joe, I'll send you a new list because I don't think an Avalanche sticks out, even though they just swept the LA Kings. But
I mean, Makar was like,
Makar's been very good.
And you heard like
the goalie's been very good.
Yeah, but I don't know if you heard DJ Smith talking about them, like in his exit interview today. He was like, teams usually that are buttoned up will have a lull in their game, and that's where we felt we could take advantage of them. It's like there was no lull. They were so – and you watching and doing the game Saturday, as much as it's disappointing for Ottawa, this Carolina team, man, did like they were unbelievable.
Yes,
like
they outperformed them top to bottom.
They outperformed them, but it just their penalty kill. I swear to God, I joked that it felt like there were 7 guys on the ice. They were just maniacs. Like they were.
You agree, Jamie, that like right now, hey, well, you guys can weigh in. That's what the show's all about. Come on in, folks, and get involved with this chat. Do you not think that Carolina would be a kind of a heavy favorite to win the Cup right now?
Okay, let me throw something at you here quickly.
Colorado's got it.
Let me throw this at you.
I don't like being interrupted like that because I never do it. But go
brought
ahead.
to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. This playoffs, BP is summoning the hockey gods to tilt the ice in Canada's favor. Join us and feast like a hockey god on our new playoff menu. See you for puck drop at your local BP. Our boy Doogie just came up with this about 45 minutes ago. I'll give you 2 options. One of Colorado or Carolina win the Stanley Cup, or the field.
Oh, my God, it's the first one for fun.
Really?
For fun.
Well,
so no Tampa, no Buffalo, no Dallas,
Minnie
no
or
Vegas.
Dallas. Yeah, like
I'll bet you as much as you want right now, no odds. Give me Carolina, Colorado.
One of them. You don't even need both. I'm not saying that's the Cup final.
To win the Cup.
Yes,
win the Cup.
One of them is winning the Cup.
Teams.
Carolina
you could put
or Colorado.
$1,000.
I'll take
$1,000.
I'll take it.
You'll take 100 or no 1,000.
I'll take it.
Gino.
I mean, listen, those are the 2 best teams. The top seed in the West, top seed in the East. Both had a huge luxury down the stretch. Carolina in particular of like load managing down the stretch. Right? They were shutting guys down and just saying, let's get ready and preparing. Colorado, not to the same extent, but kind of. The last 7 or 8 games, they had moved past Dallas and Minnesota, and they knew they were comfortably in first in the Central. So, and also, I didn't think Ottawa was going to be a layup. Like, I was surprised the way it played out that way. It turns out they were. I mean, they swept them. Like, you can talk about how close it was all you want. I can't imagine anyone in Ottawa wants to hear that today. I could be wrong.
Dude.
Noodles, you know the market better than I do. But the idea of anyone selling, it was still a good season. And
well,
how?
You know what
it
is?
Went backwards from a year ago.
You know what it is, though? And even going into the game, I saw a lot. Do you remember in the conference final, was it last year or the year before, where Brendan Moore was like, we got swept, but we didn't really lose. We didn't, so they were going, here's Travis Green after today's game. They were saying that.
Right.
Liked a lot about their game, but you got to see where you are. And like anything, there's always going to be change. And you need to get better. They need to find scoring. But although Brady Tkachuk and Tim Stützle had 19 shots on goal. Feathers, right?
Yeah.
Like that's not.
Pinto was terrible. I thought
you had your guys were there. Greeny said on this show, he said we've been on the barbecue for 2 months or whatever. Carolina deserves a lot of credit. I just don't think Ottawa got over the line. They just didn't get off the barbecue. Like I don't know if they ran out of gas or they just didn't have it.
In saying that though, Jamie, and I have to think about how I want to word this. They're not quite Steve Yzerman's press conference where he said we need better players, because what Detroit did coming down the stretch was borderline ridiculous for that to have happened again. But that's 2 years in a row. You just lost in the first round against the Toronto Maple Leafs, basically because they had some better players with Matthews and Marner and Nylander that made some more plays. So that was 1 year. And then the second year, you got the screws put to you defensively. Freddie Anderson was great, but at the end of the day, both are not getting the job done. So you have to, you got to look to get better. You got to look to improve.
And you're 100%
you can't just come back next year and say, if you just put this same exact group in there next year, things are going to change. I think it's crazy to think like that, man.
It's
like going on a long road trip, guys, when you're letting gross ones rip in the car. You get out, you try to freshen up, you think you get back in the car, it's going to smell nice again. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Then you leave the person who's farting, you leave at the gas station and you move on. So what you're saying is you need new people in the car.
That's right.
It's not going to be a completely new
No, but
caravan.
I do think you are going to change. I do think you have to, just by osmosis. I know the rumblings already about, hey, what's Brady's future, which it has to be talked about.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
I don't get it. Why? He has term on his contract. Is he just not happy there, or is it because he went to the White House and was bothered about that in ridiculous fashion? Why?
I don't know.
Why does Brady need to be talked about?
It's the same conversation here in Toronto, in Ottawa. And if Edmonton loses, it's going to be, McDavid wants out. That's just the narrative. Mm-hmm. That's how people like to think. Whether that's true or not, we will see. But the point being is regardless, these are the things that, Steve Staios, Travis Green, Dave Poulin, all of them are going to go back to the drawing board and go, okay, where do we come up short? And what do we need? What do we feel we need? In a perfect world, you always said, get me another top 6 forward, Absolutely. They need somebody who can score, a one-shot scorer, that type of stuff. Obviously, they needed health, too. Jake Sanderson banged up, Jensen, Clevin coming back there, Zub. Like, you get it. The health wasn't there. But in the end, did you feel like this group, if they were healthy and firing on all cylinders, could they go deeper? Should they have gone deeper? Or do you need to add? And I think that's what has to be answered in Ottawa.
And something that needs to be looked at, guys, and this is not a criticism, and this is not taking away for the kind of player that he is. And, Jamie, you've described Stützle as a superstar player, which he is. He's a 90 to 100-point guy. He's dynamic. But is he a 1A guy that you can go to war with and win? You got to ask yourself the question, because –
Well, in the playoffs in particular, it's 2 different seasons. We're aware of that. Regular season success is one thing. We've had this discussion in this town for literally a decade, and it's starting in Ottawa now. You guys are good enough to make the playoffs. You're a really good regular season team that knows how to put it together and find ways to win.
But are you real deal? I know that they thought they were. They thought they were real deal coming down the stretch because of how tough they played and their goaltender was coming around. But that's 2 years in a row they proved that maybe they're not real deal.
And guess what? They'll be having the same chat in Montreal in 5 days if Tampa wins the series, right? Because it's the same thing. Until you prove it, it's easy to project. It's easy to have uber optimism and say, I love this player, I love that player, I love the makeup of the team. It's difficult to win in the playoffs, right? And you also, on the flip side of it, you can't be silly. You can't be overly emotional if you're in management and say, I'm just going to start throwing guys away. No,
they're not going to be methodical. Yeah, I think you have to have a belief.
The Tkachuk thing, though, is what we got to drive home here, because that could have a massive shift in the organization if he decides. And I know you're pleading ignorance. The reality is his brother did it. That's why people look at Tkachuk differently. His brother literally was like, I'm out of here, and I want out of here, and I'm telling you.
Okay, Brian, then call him right now and stop pissing around and get it over with and say, Brady, if you want to leave, if you don't want to leave, then do an interview with somebody.
You can't use Brady with Austin and Connor in the same. They're not the same. They're all have different histories and different scenarios in each respective market.
I know, but what I'm saying about Brady is Brady can put an end to it right now and just come out and say, I've got 3 years left of my contract. I don't know what all this nonsense is about.
I agree.
I'm an Ottawa Senator, and then it all stops. It all stops.
So what you're saying is, and I would agree with this, it's on him to end it.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Because if
someone get him on the phone and tell him to end it.
Yeah, but okay. So hold on a second. He's got 2 years left on his deal, and he could be extended next summer. Mm-hmm. So this is the. This is a scenario where Matthew was and where where Quinn Hughes is, all of that type of stuff. This summer is. So
just
the point
be straight up either way. If you're not going to do it, let them know, and maybe they'll do something about it. Maybe they'll let you play it out, but it's up to him to make the call, and I'm sure he will do it.
Well, listen, they get it. They're a hockey family. They understand. But again, I think you have to let your emotions relax for a bit and just – take a pulse. Apparently, he had a baby on the weekend, so that's why he wasn't available today.
He played through that. Anyone complaining that he's not at media day, of course he's not. He played the game. It would have been a bigger story if he was like, I'm not playing game 4 because I'm going to, see my wife. Hospital. And that today, him missing today is the most obviously. I have no issues with that. I don't tie it to his future because he's not there today.
And it comes back to the conversation. Anytime you lose, there has to be a forensic audit of, do you feel that this group can get there to the next level? What's missing? All of that type of stuff. It's happening. It's going to happen in L.A. It's going to happen in Ottawa. It's going to happen in all these other teams that are on the brink and all of that. and the fallout will be depending on player X, Y, and Z. And then the teams that didn't make the playoffs, you're sitting there going, okay, what is in store moving forward? Here in Toronto, the next shoe to drop is who's running the ship.
Right.
That's what we're trying to find out. Right? Who's driving the bus?
And listen, that's another thing that hangs over the whole Canadian kind of storyline is that it's been 30 years since a Canadian team won. And do you feel great that one's going to end the drought this year? Ottawa's out. Edmonton's on the brink of elimination, and the Habs are in a fight for their lives against Tampa.
But if Montreal gets through, I could see them doing damage.
I could see them as well. I don't. But will they win a Stanley Cup? I'm not willing to go to that distance. The Habs are in the best position in the country right now. I believe that to be the case. They're really well built. Their cap is in line. They've got prospects coming. Like they're in a really good position for future success. Montreal. Edmonton is they still have the makings of a team that can work, but they're in trouble right now. Like they're in big trouble.
Yeah,
they're in big trouble.
Yeah.
All right, the bar play updated list coming up later in the hour. We get Troy Stecher on. Troy will come up just after 5. I'll ask him about his Leaf experience, Edmonton experience, what he's making of the playoffs right now. Jay's back in action against the Red Sox tonight. Savage making his return tomorrow. Scherzer on the IL. That was very predictable based on performance, that they were going to have to make a decision on him, and it was ugly on Friday night. But they won the series. They've won 2 of their last 2 series. So Blue Jays, Red Sox tonight. Steve Phillips on that and more, including the Mets getting swept by Colorado over the weekend. That in about an hour. And the Raptors are back in the series after a great, great weekend for the Raps. Game 5 in Cleveland. We'll start looking ahead to that. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
The Rookie, all new tonight on CTV. Stream tomorrow on Crave.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
My bad habits lead to late nights, sitting alone, conversations with
All right, Overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you more ways to play your game your way. Jays Red Sox tonight. You see they're giving out Ernie Clement Jays hockey jerseys tonight. And as always, thousands of people lined up from 10 a.m. this morning, noon this morning.
My brother's one of them. He
Really?
Yeah, dude, my brother's 51 years old. He's he's a senior police officer, like seniority, like he's a stud. He goes and waits for a bobblehead, needs it, like tells people to get. It's just like, come on, man.
Has to have it.
Yes.
Well, they're playing on Ernie, like Ernie Clement. Obviously, he's been good, right? He's been very good. He was great last year. He's a big hockey guy, and Jays are playing on that tonight. So we'll see. I'm sure it looks pretty cool. I'm sure it's a good look for Ernie.
I mean,
they do give. I give him credit. Like they do give pretty good little.
They market very well.
Yes, it's
like you always know about these silly days.
And when you're getting ready, like you're giving these things away. There's 25,000 of them or whatever. Like it's not cheap.
Yeah. No, exactly. Like they've got to produce them and they're giving them away, and they always limit it to a certain amount to create the supply and demand trigger, right? To get people lining up, which is crazy, and create kind of the buzz. But yeah, Dylan Cease on out tonight. Trey is Savage. There it is. That's pretty cool looking sweater.
They are
I
nice
like that.
looking. They are very nice.
Attaboy, Ernie. I like that. I can get down with that. And he's Savage back tomorrow. We'll get into that with Steve Phillips. You know, big opportunity for him to hit the ground running. I think people need to allow him to ease back into the majors. He's a really young guy, and he's trying to figure it out. He didn't have a great rehab stint, but this is reality we're living in.
Are they force-feeding him back in, or do you feel like?
No, you got to be a stud, Jamie.
They got to let him play.
That Roberto Luongo or yourself, you were a stud too.
Nope.
You go down to the minors and give up 5. They're like, you're not staying down there, Jamie. Come back up.
Well,
you just got to have the mentality of I'm a stud. I just needed that to get some reps, and he is a stud. So it's all mental, boys. I'm in that zone right now. It's everything's mental, and he's just got to tell himself
I like that. I like that idea because he's got a great opportunity here to show up where the rotation needs him. Scherzer is now in the IL, and even if he was healthy, he wasn't pitching very well. Patrick Corbin, they're going to allow to go. He's going to get starts. But Cease has been great. Gosman was brilliant again over the weekend. You get your Savage going. Like now you can get cooking again, right? Yes, the Yankees are off to a decent start, but no one else in the American League East is scaring you. No. The Red Sox have been terrible. They just fired their whole staff.
Dude,
so
what a
take
scene
advantage.
That is. Not worse than the Mets, though. They suck so bad, dude.
Brutal.
They're garbage.
They are terrible. They got swept by Colorado over the weekend. And Bichette is in a dark place, man. Like, I feel for Bo. Making $42-43 million a year, but he's still a human being.
Look at that guy.
And
he's
like,
just on his
own in the dugout. No
one
around.
Barry Trotz theory on Bo Bichette with the Mets. Barry Trotz. It's like it takes a legacy player about a year. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the Mets are going to give him a year with that fan base.
But keep in mind, though, Stamkos have been in the league 15 years. This guy's how many years?
Oh, he's been in a long time, Noodles.
Yeah,
he's been around. But Hayes, let me ask you this.
Yeah, not quite the Stamkos, but he's not a 20-year-old kid.
I know.
Let me ask you this, Hazy.
Either. That was my point.
If the Mets picked up the phone, now you got to consider what the circumstances are here, okay? And they called Ross and said, "We're going to work this out so it's like less money. It's not full ticket. Would you take him back?" And you're Ross. Talk to me.
No,
we're gonna cut the money so you're not paying full pop because it's ridiculous.
Right.
Any chance you want to sniff? How big a sniff are you going to take?
I would sniff at it for sure.
A deep sniff?
I would have to contemplate.
Would you gold dust?
I think I would gold dust it because
you what?
Here's the reality. It wasn't. They didn't sign him to like a 10-year contract.
3
He's
years.
got all these options. Yeah, it's a 3-year deal, but I believe it's player options. But Dude, you look it up. There may be team options too. It may be a scenario where the team can get out from underneath it. It's we're still 20, 30 games into the season. it's still very early. He didn't forget how to play. You guys say that all the time. Noodles, you say that about goalies who struggle all the time. Didn't forget how to play. Didn't forget how to coach.
Some of them have.
Bichette, I don't think has. The question is, reinserting him to the clubhouse now that may have moved on without him. Now, it's not hard to get him back into the fold. But if you've made the decision, they could have paid Bo and kept him, probably. Maybe he wanted a new start, but and if he wanted to leave, does he really want to come back? You know what I mean? Like, if he felt like Fred VanVleet was on a podcast recently saying, like, he knew he just was done with Toronto, and they were kind of done with him. Once you get to that point as an athlete, regardless of how bad it's been the first month and a half wherever you went, it's tough to reignite your passion for the place you decided that's enough, I got to leave. You know, so I just think it would be complicated to make that work. But I still believe he'll figure it out. He's still going to be a good player. And they could use some help. Jays are still dealing with injuries, and they're still 3 games under 500, so by no means are they perfect right now. It's the weird thing with, like, the Marner discourse, to segue into a different sport, different conversation. Seeing Leaf fans goofing on Mitch, and Mitch hasn't been great in the playoffs. His numbers aren't spectacular. But the Leafs are out. The Leafs have had a dreadful season. How do you goof on Mitch Marner, or even Ottawa for that matter? Yeah, Ottawa got swept, but the Leafs were out of the playoffs with 20 games to go.
Yeah, it's just different. Yeah, a different thought process. That's what it is.
I'm just saying, be reasonable with kind of where the chirps are. You got to kind of, like, the old glass houses statement.
That's a fair
applies,
comment. Glass house, that's
Don't
fair.
Don't throw stones.
But I mean, ultimately, comes when you're looking at a guy like Bo, you're right. Like, it took Stamkos a year to settle. He scored. I don't know if you guys know it. He scored 40 goals this year.
Yeah,
Steven
did.
Stamkos scored 40 goals this year.
Unreal.
Hell of a player. And you don't forget how to do that. But it was his new environment. But it took him a full calendar year to get sorted out and feeling comfortable in Nashville, or at least getting the looks that he wanted and the luck and all of that. Maybe it takes Bo a while to settle in.
Well, I remember us having this chat last year. Should Stamkos go back to Tampa? Should Brisebois call up Trotz and work a deal out and bring him back? And at that point, it made sense. And now you look at it, right? You let it breathe a little bit. And I think Tampa's moved on, and Stamkos is settled in, and it's all good, right? I think both parties would be happy with their history, but also happy with the fact they decided to go in a different direction. It happens.
And Trotz stepping down, like, that's – you hear people going into Nashville, like, who's going to get the GM job here? I keep coming back to Toronto. Who's going into Vancouver? Like, there's 3 jobs open, like, right now, that teams need to sort out a lot quicker than you think. You've got I know you have people in place, but you got the draft lottery coming up soon. You want it. I guarantee you they're all having their draft meetings soon as well, because you've got to get your list together, because the junior playoffs are going on. So lots of stuff happening. And I know Keith Pelly said, what did he say about mid-May they were aiming to have somebody in
I'm not
place,
sure if he ever put a date out there.
I
he
guess
might
maybe
have.
that was our insider.
But I know the insiders have suggested that. And on one end, you don't rush it because you got to get it right.
Yes.
Ultimately, this is about setting course for your franchise for the next decade. There's no point in getting this.
Do you think he's going to get it right?
Well,
let me just ask you guys this. Since this dreaded press conference of his, and we all talk to a lot of people on a daily basis. We almost have to do this job, to get information, whatever. We're not insiders, but we can call whoever we want to call. Have you had one person say, I'm hyped and I'm super confident that Keith Pelly is going to get this right? Have you guys got one of those texts or messages?
I haven't personally, but listen,
Jamie, have you?
There's been more negative than positive, put it that way. I would say.
The answer is no. The answer is no.
It's more about just, I think it's the question mark is, the people that you are rumored to have finalists in that, they're saying, is that the list? Like, is that how short the list is? Is that who you're dealing with? Again, they could come in and do an unbelievable job, but they're unproven technically. And in a market like this, and Hayes, we've talked about this at length. This is the biggest market for hockey, them in Montreal, on the planet. It's a big job. And the team, there's lots of work to be done here. There's a lot of factors that come in. So I think you're looking at you're unturning every stone. You're going to look under every stone.
And that's, I think the point you just made is what probably isn't brought up enough, but is probably leading to the majority of the pessimism or the reaction to who they're allegedly and reportedly talking with.
Right.
If it were heavy hitters in the game, winners, big, and there's not a ton of management types that check every box. You know,
No.
It's just like coaches.
Think about this.
But-
How many people in management around the National Hockey League would you think, I got to get that guy to run my team? Think about it.
Well, exactly. But let me finish my point. If you go to them and say, we want you, that person may tell you, I have to blow that place up and it's going to take me 5 years.
Anyone with half a brain would
Exactly.
tell you that.
And that is the point, is if that might be the answer right in front of us, why it's possibly White or Chayka, because Pelly has said, you're keeping Craig Berube, you got to make Austin Matthews happy, and we got to try to win next year. If those are on the table, I don't know if they are, but if that is the directive from your future boss, it probably eliminates 80% of people in the game. They're like, I'm not dealing with that.
Dude,
But-
I already told you how I would conduct the interviews, Brian. I sit somebody down and say, I think we can compete next year. How are you going to accommodate my wants and needs? And as soon as they told me, I'd say, get out. I was lying. We stink.
It's a catfish.
I
catfish
catfish
direction.
I catfish him. I'd say, I think we're a couple pieces away. What do you think? And if they shake their head, I'm like, out you go. You're nuts.
Just a brown-nosing catfish.
Yeah, you want somebody to shine up
operation.
an apple and put it on your desk. That's what, and
Oops,
then you're
catfish,
get the hell out of here.
you're out.
Yeah, like how could anybody
sorry.
think that they're a couple pieces away? Wrong. Anyone that would
Well,
say that
do
in an
you-
interview, they're dead wrong.
Now, what if Matt Sundin thinks they're only a couple pieces away?
I would tell that to his face too, because he's not stupid. He would not think
I get
that.
it, but that's the name that continues to Lundin. Why would you say, let me get this straight. You gave Brendan Shanahan that title, who never played a second for this team, but me, the all-time greatest lead for one of them, I got to ease my way into it? Like, if you're Matt's, you're probably like, no, actually, that's not happening. Like,
I know,
if
but
I'm,
Brian,
if I'm taking over the operation, it's Shanahan's
I played
title.
with Mats. He's a friend of mine, but we don't know what basically his capabilities are. Like,
I
what
agree.
has he
I'm
been
not arguing
what has he
against
been
that.
doing around the league? Like, we don't know what he's like. And Mats is smart enough to understand. You just don't show up in the National Hockey League and start saying get that guy and get this guy if you don't know the league. I don't know what he's been up to for the last 10 years.
And that is the separator. Like, Shanahan was working in the league and watching like 12 games a night and was here and in North America. There's a difference.
Yeah.
But Shanahan had never run anything.
No.
He never been with a team before.
Yeah,
And
like if he just says, you do the hockey and I'm going to make sure the guy's not paying at center ice to skate around with the flag and I'm going to take care of that stuff, that's different.
Well,
But I don't know what he's been up to for 10 years. I really don't.
I think there is somewhere in the middle, and hear me out on this. As you mentioned, I don't know Mats. Met him a few times, wonderful person. Smart guy, though, okay? Hall of Famer, knows the game, but you're right. He hasn't been living it for the last 10 years right in the middle of it. But, somebody pointed out to me, Marty St. Louis was like coaching, bantam hockey, and all of a sudden he's the coach of the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah.
I will say this. Smart people and special people, Matt Sundin's a special person, just like Marty St. Louis. These Hall of Famers, they have a different level of thinking, especially when it comes to the game. There's no negative in having a guy like Matt's involved.
Totally agree. It's a very valid point and a smart point.
But here's what I would say. He doesn't have to be the business day-to-day, crunching numbers, all of that. But if you want his voice at the table, figure out what works for you and for Matt Sundin. I keep coming back as part of a group. This should be by committee. It can't. This isn't the Carolina Hurricanes where it's Dundon into analytics. I'm drawing a blank on this. Eric Tulsky into Rod Brind'Amour.
Yeah.
This is a conglomerate.
I agree with you, Noodles.
Right.
But here's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Is if I'm playing the role of Matt Sundin here. Okay. We all love Matt. Matt's is very confident in who Matt Sundin is. And even more confident when it comes to connecting his name to the Maple Leafs, right? There's like 5 players all time who can walk around with a Vince McMahon strut like Sundin can around that building. It's like him, Clark, Sittler.
It's a good strut. It's a good
exactly.
strut.
It's like, get out of my way, I'm Matt Sundin. I'm not saying he does it disrespectfully. The point being is, what I'm getting at is, if he's an advisor, that's one thing. Then it's like, Justin Williams and other guys around the
Jerome
league.
McGinley.
Yeah, exactly. You can come in and out. You want to live over there, that's okay, and we'll check in. But if it's more than that, I don't see Matt Sundin saying, yeah, I'll take less than what Brendan Shanahan got.
Yeah.
His
situation
why
would
would he accept less than that?
His living situation would be a factor in that, because I would almost bet money that the Maple Leafs would say to him, if you're going to be involved any more than an advisor, like some kind of senior vice president role, anything like that, you're going to have to move here. You can't fly in.
100%.
But you can't fly in once a month and be the senior VP of
mandatory.
a corporation.
You're here.
But
mandatory.
that
and
is
I would bet you that would be something that they're trying to work out right now. If he wants to do it, how badly he wants to move his family back to Canada.
Yes.
Those are big decisions to have to make if you're
100%.
taking on something like this.
But he's not doing it to be on in a group with John Chaika and someone else. Is my point.
No,
he's doing it to be at the top, I would think.
Fair enough, and that's a great point. But anybody who takes a job in senior management, you have to be on. You have to dive in. It becomes your life. This isn't a scenario where if you want to be a part-time advisor, that's great to have somebody at the table, a phone call away, come in for big meetings, all of that type of stuff. But these guys alone, they didn't get to be that successful in hockey by just being half-assers. They're guys who have put the work in. And I think that's the one thing that has to be focused on. The new hire has to be somebody who is a relentless worker, because by all accounts, the MLSE and everybody in these organizations, there's 3 people to do one job for everything. And I think that's where you streamline it and say, I want the best, but I want people who work. Let's go to work here and fix this and figure this all out.
I agree. Troy Stecher coming up. Steve Phillips will join us. OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live. All right, Troy Stecher coming up. Best bets later this afternoon. Raptors back in the series. What a defensive performance. The offensive performance from both teams was horrendous yesterday. But ultimately, the Raps really played beautifully down the stretch, hit some big shots, hit a bunch of free throws, and found a way to win that game and tie that series up. Your boy Darko was going nuts, too, on the way out of the stadium. I love that energy from Darko. He's a fired-up guy. Like, he's a rah-rah guy.
I gotta show you guys a video. Paulo Koliakovo's business partner and close friend is the guy that got absolutely steamrolled.
When the ball went out of bounds?
Yes, Carlos' brother Paulo, his business partner / good friend, gets absolutely trucked. Joe from the bridge, get the Viz.
Okay.
I don't know.
I remember it was late in the game. Was it a Raptor that hit him, or was it Mitchell that went in?
I think it was Spider,
I think it was Mitchell that went in. You're right.
And he just gets creamed, and it's Paulo's buddy.
Okay,
and he's laying there.
Yeah, he just gets absolutely steamrolled. That would be so embarrassing, dude. I just don't. I can't even imagine.
Well, courtside, you go in there knowing it's possible, man. Like there's videos of Shaq jumping into the stands trying to save a ball.
Yeah.
Like, that's dangerous, man. Shaquille O'Neal in his prime, diving over people.
Remember that cameraman? Wasn't it Rodman that kicked the guy in the pills?
Yep.
The cameraman beside the court?
Yeah, I think he sued him, and I'm sure he won. And probably
he got some cash, guaranteed.
Yeah, Rodman was paying for that one. There's no question. But, Raptors were really good defensively, and that's a big win. They're heading back to Cleveland. So now you got a best 2 out of 3. And your boy Fitzy hooking his brother up down in
Dude,
in
do you
New
know
Orleans.
how much his brother owes him? That bunker shot on 18 was so outrageously good.
Unreal.
Like, unreal
and the drive
shot.
on 18, dude. He hit that thing center.
Dude, he got out. He stood up on that tee and nutted that drive. Yes. And then he spun that little sand shot. I thought he bladed it at first when Dottie said, all golf ball. But is this Paulo's buddy getting just absolutely train wrecked right here? Yes. This is Paulo's buddy getting absolutely steamrolled at the Raptors game.
Oh, man, that's a big
yes.
hit.
Yes.
Wow, that's a big
Is he
hit.
all right? Like, I don't know why I'm laughing.
I think so, yeah. I'm not. I mean, if the guy had a concation, he probably wouldn't tell anybody. But we hope
be Paulo's
buddy, we hope you're better. But Fitzy, dynamic. And his brother gets into the PGA, all the signature events, and he's got a tour card for 2 years.
Unreal. Yeah, and he gets to play with the players at the PGA Championship, too. He gets into the next major.
Exactly.
It's unbelievable. And $1.3 million cash. Like Fitzy. The Fitzys are a menace on the PGA Tour.
Dude, that little Fitzy with his size 20 Skechers is number 3 in the world.
He's clutch as it gets, man. All he does is win tournaments now. Yeah. He's an unbelievable player. All right, hour 2 coming up. Troy Stecher, Steve Phillips. OverDrive continues up on TSN 4.
OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
There's an absolute monster up in Collingwood at the gym that needs to be put in his place, but I can't do it because he's too jacked.
Oh, yeah? What's he doing?
And wears a tight, long spandex pant with a tank top tight tuck into it.
I like that's like the Hart Foundation. He's like, what's his name? Not Bret Hart. Who's the guy with the goatee?
Dude, he's just got a real bad attitude. He just thinks he's the king, and you know who you are. I hope you're watching. Okay. I can't say anything to you because he makes Tony Twist look like a Smurf.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
Why are you picking a fight with him?
Now
I'm not, dude. I'm not, dude. I went up to him and I was like, "Excuse me, are you using this machine?" He goes, "What does it look like I'm using?" I'm on, like I was some kind of, and I just said, "You don't have to be a D about it."
Dink.
And then he just, and then every day he just walks around. He's just a loser.
Okay.
And I don't have the jam to say, why don't you mind your P's and Q's? Because he might just squash me like a little blueberry.
I love it. Jim the Anvil Neinhardt. That's what I was talking about.
That's Jimmy the Anvil. Yeah.
Jimmy the Anvil. That's him with a tight tuck.
Is he a juice guy too, like a roid monkey?
Dude, he's gigantic.
Yeah.
He's gigantic.
Well, he's probably a super fan of the show now, and
leave
big
him be.
Trouble. Maybe he's on mute. Maybe he's at a restaurant, Boston Pizza, watching.
Apparently, there's people sending us pictures of watching us.
Yeah, it's great.
No sound.
Oh, it's the best way to watch. It's always a great watch.
Can you imagine if there was closed caption though?
Yeah.
Like if there's closed caption for us, and you're saying,
maybe
captioning on
give us a gold dust sniff. And there does like a sound effect.
Right. What about someone, Jamie, that was traveling through an airport that was like, maybe I'll tune into this, and then it would take 5 minutes for them to say, absolutely not. I just read gold dust sniff, and the guy took a giant sniff. I'm out.
That's enough. That's enough.
Exactly.
Well, this guy, if he's watching, might give you the old Ridley Gregg sucker punch tomorrow.
Ooh.
Guys, can I just clear the air on this Ridley Gregg sucker punch? He suckered the guy, okay? Give him a game and be done with it. I think this is everybody, and I know Biz went nuts on this, and Biz used to be a tough guy. I like rough and tough hockey. I didn't like this, but give him a game. Like, he punched him in the head. Like, sorry. Like, maybe it's because Ridley Gregg's one of my favorite players. I really like the guy. But I think he suckered him. He punched him in the head. It's not like he repeatedly continued to punch him in the head. It was one sucker punch. I think he gets suspended for a game, and we move on from this.
Yeah.
Like, it's dishonorable. It's that, and you got to pay a game for that. He's probably going to have to deal with Delorier, which Ridley Gregg is a smart guy. He's a smart.
Not dealing with Delorier. You think he's going to take that like a Matt Cook, I got to fight him type scenario?
Yeah.
Somebody is going to. Well, exactly. Somebody is going to go after Ridley Gregg next year, but Ridley Gregg knows that.
Right.
He's smart. He knows somebody's coming after him. But I think it's kind of a little bit blown out of proportion where it was like dishonorable. Give him a game suspension and move on from it. I think it's gotten a little bit crazy. Sorry.
Well, there's been a lot of,
Do you guys disagree with that?
No, I'm not. I don't think it's a 5-game or anything.
No, it's one game. You get one game for the dishonor.
Yeah, people were talking about the code and all that. What it is, and I said Ridley Gregg going into the playoffs was my X factor because he is a guy that plays in that gray area. Ask Morgan Riley. Takes a slap shot in the empty net. He's an agitator. He's a guy who gets underneath your skin. He's a hell of a player. He's the type of guy you want on your team. Did he punch a guy and a third man in? Absolutely. You're right. Game or two and move on. But there was a ripple effect of this code, and you don't do that and all the. We've seen lots of things. Konechny was kicking at a guy the other day, on the ice. Like it happens.
Jamie, you played with Chris Simon, didn't you, when he stepped on the guy in New York?
Yeah. No, I got traded for Cy, but I know Cy
for a long time.
Cy got and that was
that was awful.
That is not in the same. Yeah,
Joe, try to find that one.
That is not in the same ballpark as this one. Like that's more on that.
I just think, guys, one game's enough, and it just be done with it. I think it was.
I agree with you, but I don't. I also don't think you need. you don't need to soften the fact that it was a greasy play.
Yeah, that's all it was. It was a greasy play. There's all kinds of greasy stuff that goes out there that nobody has any idea what goes on. Ask Troy. Troy will tell you.
I want the duck bill to come back, where a guy holds the blade of their own stick in their hand, and stuffs it underneath the guy's throat. That happened to me once in a scrum. A guy had his stick in my throat as he was pretending to hold his blade. He was choking me.
Was that ridiculous. In the NHL or in junior?
No, it was in the British National League during the lockout.
That doesn't count.
It's in England. The guy tried to kill me.
Yeah, it's like a prison league, dude.
I know.
No kidding.
I want to see that type of stuff happen.
Dude, Jamie, I can't believe you said that. That exact same thing happened to me. Glenn Featherstone grabbed Eric Desjardins' stick and put it behind his head, and it went right in my mouth and cut my tongue in half, and I couldn't eat for 2 weeks. It's so stupid. Glenn Featherstone.
Well, let's see if Troy Stecher's had to deal with any of this scenarios in the past. Here's Maple Leaf defenseman Troy Stecher. You ever have to deal with something like that, Troy? Someone using their blade or their stick to choke you out or try to cut your tongue off?
No, I think the times have changed a little bit there. So.
Yeah, you never played in the British Professional Hockey League?
Not quite.
Okay. What did you make? I'm sure you saw the Ridley Gregg sucker punch as a player in the league. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously won't say too much. I think Biz actually said it pretty well in the panel. It was kind of like a difference between like those rabbit punches in the scrum and whatnot, and a full-on uppercut. So I'm sure something will happen, whether there's a suspension or a fine, or if he's going to have to answer the bell for next year. That's just kind of a code that kind of runs across the league, that you don't do something like that.
So Troy, what do you do now? Do you take a little bit of time for yourself? Today's athlete, it seems like, you shut it down for a week, 10 days, and then you're right back in the gym. Is that fair to say, or do guys take a little bit longer depending if they're banged up or not?
It kind of depends on the guy and also your age. This is my 10th year. I've kind of changed my training regimen throughout the years, just on what my body needs. And for me, I was back in the gym today for the first time. Not that I was lifting weights, but just stretching, getting mobile again, and just kind of working on your flexibility. And it just kind of seems like that next generation of players coming up are going at it 24/7. So it's kind of motivating as a guy at my age right now still.
Well,
we always have a lot of years left to continue to work hard,
We always hear, players that don't make the playoffs say, okay, I can use this to my benefit because I get a longer off season to kind of prepare. Do you see any? Obviously, you guys wanted to make the playoffs, clearly. That goes without saying. But can you take any positives out of the fact that now you got a longer off season to prepare for next year?
Yeah, for sure. You said it, obviously, first and foremost, you want to be playing. So you're disappointed in that regard. But, early in my career in Vancouver, we didn't make the playoffs the first 3 years. And just for myself individually as a smaller D-man, it was kind of a benefit. I got 5 months, 3 years in a row to really work on my strength and work on my game away kind of from a system team setting. Same thing for this year, I've been the past 2 years on Edmonton. We've had long playoff runs going to the finals and losing twice, and your summer's only about 9 weeks. So a third of that's kind of just recovering, resting, and then next thing you know, you're kind of in panic mode, being like, oh, I gotta train. So this year will be a good opportunity for me to get a good summer in, for sure.
Troy, you mentioned you're a smaller D-man, but mobile and skating, being able to move the puck. Is that, feel like that's where the league is at when it comes to defensemen and their value from the back end is being able to, advance the puck and jump into the play now?
Yeah, for sure. I think you kind of see the theme of that across the league and a lot of these D-men that are coming up. I do still think there's a big importance on how you defend, though. And I think that becomes pretty evident when it comes playoff time. But I don't know. I guess the whole mindset of just like playing defense has changed. It's the best defense is playing no defense. So if you have the puck all the time, it's a lot easier in that regard. And it seems like a new generation of D-men coming up like to play with the puck and have possession. So you don't really have to defend that often.
Troy, I'm not sure. I would imagine. I think you're a hockey guy and you're watching these playoffs. Has anything like stuck out? Any teams got your attention? Individual performances? what's kind of caught your eye?
Just all the matchups in general. I think it's been really entertaining to watch. I was really shocked Ottawa got swept. I didn't see that one coming. The Tampa-Montreal series has been super entertaining. It's really cool to see Utah, do as well as they have so far, especially, being in Arizona not that long ago, and a lot of those core guys still there. So really happy for them. And, obviously Edmonton kind of let me go, which I was disappointed about, but still have a lot of relationships with those guys and hope the best for them. And it's kind of shocking to see where they are right now too. So
what's your read on that?
It's kind of been opening.
Troy, like the fact that the Oilers are up against it, do you think the fact they played so much hockey the last 2 years factors in, or is it more about what Anaheim's doing?
I think a bit of both. I think you could argue both sides of it. As far as the series, I just think it's pretty free-flowing and kind of open, just kind of trading chances back and forth. But, yeah, you did hit it. Like, they've played a lot of hockey, especially some of their big guys, going to the Olympics for Devo and the Four Nations, and it adds up.
With Troy Stecher. So in terms of your time in Toronto, like when you were acquired here and claimed, you stepped in, you played a ton, you played really well, you endeared yourself to a fan base immediately. We were talking about you almost daily on this show. What sparked that, in your opinion, when you arrived? Why did it kind of work, and what did you take out of your season in Toronto?
I don't really know. I think just opportunity. I came in, there was a lot of injuries when I got here, and especially to the back end, so I stepped in right away and just played. I felt like I played well the first 3-4 games, and from that you just kind of get confidence, and I kind of ran with it for, I guess, 6-8 weeks there. Like at the start, my game definitely dropped off at a certain point too. Like I went through a lull. Not to make an excuse to myself, but just everybody on our team, it seemed like everybody kind of hit a rough patch at a certain point through the season. So my overall assessment of my year is, I was proud to prove to the people in the hockey world that I can continue to play. You kind of doubt yourself sometimes when you're put on waivers. At the same time, there's no place for any complacency. Like I understand that you got to strive to be better every single day because somebody's always knocking on the door trying to take your job. So I was content, I guess, is what you could say.
So, Troy, you take a look at, you're in Edmonton, you go to the Cup the last couple of years, you see that culture, you see that set up, and then you come to Toronto, and, from the outside, I'm sure you had your preconceived notions of what it was like, and now you're behind the curtain. Do you see the framework of something good there? Do you feel like there's, a base to work with, and obviously a lot of uncertainty moving forward with the organization? What do you make of it, and would you like to be a part of, that moving forward?
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of good pieces in Toronto, and just first and foremost, how the organization treats you as a player is, we're very fortunate. You're not treated that way across the league in many spots, if any other. So it's a real privilege to be able to, be a Maple Leaf in that regard. I felt very fortunate. There is obviously a lot of uncertainty around the organization right now. Would I like to be back? Yeah, I really enjoyed playing there. It was a great group of guys, a lot of good players. We had injuries, obviously, to our captain and our best defenseman. Not to make excuses, but, those are two important people that were in our lineup. And just Toronto in general is just a hockey beast. Like, how can you not get up for those games to go there and represent that city, and understanding how important the magnitude of the Toronto Maple Leafs is in Toronto. It's very cool to be able to play for them.
With Troy Stecher, when you say you're treated, better in Toronto than anywhere else, or maybe anywhere else, can you give us examples on that? Like, what do you mean by that experience that makes the Leafs stick out?
It's just like little things, but like you had player-only bus on the road, which can be great, before game or after game, regardless of the results. But it's just the guys there together, talking. On the road, you stay overnight in a lot of cities just because they feel like there's a benefit in you getting a better night's rest instead of hopping on a flight and getting into a hotel late. If you really want to get into it, like a lot of these teams wouldn't do that just on their budget alone. You're paying for an extra night hotel, then you got to play for the plane. So They do everything they can to try to maximize and get the best out of every single player, and it's pretty evident, especially for myself when I've been around the league and played for multiple teams. You can kind of compare one to the other, and it was cool there in Toronto to be true to the way we were.
Yeah, that is cool.
Troy, you mentioned uncertainty just with obviously the situation in Toronto with nobody at the helm running the organization. What does that do for a player at all different levels, whether it's Austin Matthews, yourself, like as opposed to a regular season where you're like, all right, see you next fall, whatever. Uncertainty up top, what would that be like for a player, or how much anxiety would that bring for any player of any level?
It's a good question. I don't know. It's pretty loaded. I think it would be, you get a different answer based on who you ask and where they are within the organization. Obviously, Austin being the captain is going to have a lot of different feelings than myself, who potentially might not be back. For me, you'd obviously just like somebody that's going to take charge and stick to his guns and do what he thinks best for the organization. But for me right now, I'm just very focused on my off season and try to become the best version of Troy Stecher that I can right now.
Well, we'll be tracking, how this plays out for you, Troy. We enjoyed watching you as a Leaf. Hopefully it continues into the future, and, good luck come July 1st and throughout the offseason, and we appreciate you doing this today.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
You got it, Troy Stecher of the Maple Leafs, and again, free agent this year. We'll see what happens, and they got to hire a GM before they figure that out.
Yeah, that's the hardest part, is the uncertainty. Can you imagine the exit meetings here? You've got Craig Berube's uncertain about. He's got a term on his deals, but he's still, he's going to talk to an individual player and say, "This is what I saw of you this season. This is what I think you need to work on." All of that, but it's. You're not sure if he's even going to be back. Mm-hmm. And then your agent probably calls and goes, "Okay, who am I talking to?" I guess it's Brandon Pridham. You're going to talk to Brandon Pridham and say, "Where are you guys at?" Well, we're not going to sign anybody until we know who's running the show. So a lot of uncertainty there. That's why I know people are anxious for it, but they got to get it right. But they got to get somebody in place here to answer a lot of these questions.
Sure.
To get going. You got to hit the ground running.
Scouting, right? There's pro scouting going on. It's a big opportunity to scout during the playoffs. How do people look in the playoffs? Who can you find that's a diamond in the rough having a good playoff run? That happens, and that's a big part of what the Leafs and other teams are going to do into the future. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with Troy and, the other pending UFAs on this team and the 31 other teams in the league. Yeah, I've got my bar play updated list. You guys want to hear this? Because
I can't wait. I want to hear this.
So we had the first list was on Friday,
and
right?
You realized you damn screwed up today, and you redid it today.
Well, I've redone it. I will say this. There's only one carryover. This is how much things can change from Thursday to Monday, because it's a different world today than it was.
Dude, it is. Series are over.
Let me guess the carryover, though. Brandon Hagel?
It is?
Brandon Hagel?
Of course it is. Yeah, absolutely.
He's got 7 goals.
Of course.
Is he at 5? No.
No, dude. He said, I'll tell you where he is. I'll get to that later on. But here's the updated. This is round 2 of the bar play.
B listing.
List. The B listing bar play of the Stanley Cup playoffs. At number 5, you twisted my arm, but it's accurate and it's right. Lane Hudson. I got Lane Hudson. Yeah. You score an OT winner at the Bell Center.
On a Friday night.
It's right downtown.
Take your skates off and just walk to Crescent Street with your gear on.
All day.
That's a 6-person escort security team from the Chez Paris, right from the dressing room, right to the Champagne Lounge.
Yeah.
like a single
Secret
line.
Service.
Yeah, Secret Service, just like surrounding him right from the locker room. There's a path created right to the Champagne Lounge in the Chez Paris.
Well, I mean, as many have pointed out, that clapper went through about 8 different people.
It did. Yeah. I thought it hit something, too. I thought it hit a body. I don't know what it did.
Top shelf. Just an was unreal snipe for Lane Hudson. So I got Lane Hudson at 5. Alex Lyon at 4. I got the Lion. The heart of a lion.
The Lion King.
The Lion King.
He's awesome. I don't know if you know, you've seen him. And chirps, but I had a conversation with him before one of the games. He knows OverDrive. Like, I swear to God,
Shout
as he
out.
Lion
walked by
King,
and
we
said,
salute you, brother.
He said
Love the
Hayes is
Lion
a fraud. I'm not lying.
You're
He
kidding
did.
me. Now, I wish you told me that before I put him in the list.
But
we
he
take him
said it
off.
as a joke, and he goes, "Watch the show all the time, love it." You know, like I swear to God,
What a
the guy,
legend.
super cool guy, and he's the thing about him is he's gotten better with age. Let's not forget Florida's first run. This is the guy who got them into the playoffs
right.
and started the playoffs before Bob took over.
That's
This guy has been
in
been
that
great.
building, Noodles, against
building.
Boston.
A tough building, exactly.
Yep. And
So
he went
He's
in
a
there,
legend.
gave up
Yeah.
a goal in Game 3, a goal in Game 4. And listen, the game was over in the first period yesterday.
Yeah.
It was over. But Alex Lyon, UPL, clearly not getting back into the net anytime soon. So we got Alex Lyon, number 4 on the list. Number 3, and I can't believe this, Freddie Anderson. Frederick,
Dude, I love it.
Well,
Frederick
he played
Anderson.
great. He played great.
He was phenomenal. 4-game sweep, right? We were all talking Bussy this, Bussy that. What are you thinking? How do you play Freddie? This guy put it together and was outstanding. He gave up the Cousins goal. Maybe you could find another one. I don't think so. He barely gave up anything throughout the whole series.
Yeah, he was awesome.
He was great. And I think
Good for
Freddie's
Freddie.
down in Raleigh, North Carolina, just saying, step aside. It's go time. I don't know
what
any
would
places down there, but
they're probably golfing. Oh, they're probably
Could
at
be.
your favorite course or whatever. Well, these guys would have. It'd be nice weather right there. Right?
beautiful down there right now.
Gorgeous, man. Gorgeous. I golfed every off day in the playoffs.
So what they're doing right now is they go and that team is a hard-working team, man, gritty. So I guarantee you they're putting the work in, and then to the course, maybe walk and
Yeah.
do
Well,
9.
what do you
or,
think? Like, what is Rod Brindamore's workout plan the day after a sweep? It's probably just an
He
outrageous.
might have given them a day off today, but
Yeah.
I feel bad for them tomorrow because they'll probably give him a couple days off because they got lots of time. But
yeah, unless Philly
it'll be
puts
like
an end to it here soon, right?
he'll start a little mini training camp down there.
But
Roddy
they-
Brindamore used to run the mini training camp before training camp. Like, it was an unwritten rule in Carolina. Like, you're down there August 1st. And Roddy and Peter Friesen, who's just an unbelievable guy who had, did all the fitness.
Yeah, I know Pete.
And
Good guy.
and it was like track and running. Like
Yeah.
it was on ice at this gym, go to the rink, skate. Like it was a training camp. It was an unwritten rule that we had this training camp before training camp.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
they'll be doing that in between the first and the second round because
Yeah.
Carolina's in a very good place.
Dude, I'll never forget old school. One of the greatest guys ever, one of my close friends, Steve Chason. We were doing a 6-mile run or 6-minute run or whatever at the track.
Yeah.
And it was for your fitness test. And Steven Chason could run like a gazelle. I'm not kidding you. This guy wheeled up in his pickup truck, took one last bite of an apple fritter and tossed it on the little wrapper, fired a heater out the window, and beat everybody by a lap and a half, and then got in his truck and went home.
That's the
I've
best
never
part.
seen a guy run like that in my life. Apple fritter to the wrapper, dart out, and then he just ran. He blew by everyone.
Some guys
By-
just are different, man. They're
Dude,
wired
this
differently.
guy could run. I've never seen
Yeah.
anything.
He'd run by you, you could smell smoke too. That's the crazy part.
100%. 100%. A little Marlboro Light.
Legend, legend.
I love
Yeah,
that
it's
stuff.
like that with drinkers, man. You get some guys who it's like, I saw you 5 hours ago.
Non-functioning.
asleep. Yes. Dead at the bar. And now you're just up and moving around. Be like, where are we going for breakfast? What are we going to go
Dude,
for a
the
run?
scary guy, the scary one is the guy that could just have a heater of a night and 6 a.m. Like, I've seen people of all different levels in the National Hockey League be in the lobby, and you're like, that can't even be in the same
Yeah.
guy.
And look like $1 million.
Dude, $1 million, not a wrinkle, not like sleepy, not crusty eyes, like nothing ever happened.
Right.
It's crazy
I
stuff.
just am not wired that way. I wish I was. Be an all-time great way to be wired. You get 3 hours of sleep and you're 100%. All right, Freddie at 3. At number 2, I have the points leader in the Stanley Cup playoffs, Jackson Lacombe.
Dude,
Lacomb's got
sneaky
8 points, dude.
Yeah, he's got if he gets a couple more in a series, he's up there with all-time leaders, defenseman in a series, doesn't he?
Totally. Like, I was thinking of Pelling, and he scored the OT winner last night. I was thinking of that. And I was thinking, obviously they've had their 2 different power plays or both equally kind of distributed, and they both were a big factor in last night. Dostal's made some big stops when he's had to, right? When it was 2-0, I thought he made some really good stops to keep it there.
Yeah.
But Lacombe is that kid is really good.
He's good. Well, he was. Yeah, I mean, I think he's a special player. Like, I think he, he could skate well. He's got a great stick. Like, to me, this is a guy that is going to be an absolute stud for years.
Well, like McDavid, I think it was the game on Friday, tried to go around him, and he just said no dice and pushed him into the corner.
And went hard into the boards with him. Yeah,
and I was like, whoa, who is that? And that's Lacombe. Yeah. And like, he's got 8 points, and he's telling McDavid, bring it. Like, McDavid has turnstiled everybody in the league, and he couldn't pull it off.
Yeah.
McDavid, like, have you seen the numbers on him, the amount of games he's been either even or minus? It's like 11 playoff games in a row since he's been a plus player.
He hasn't looked very, he's had a struggle. I mean, I know he's injured, but I didn't think he played well before his injury. Like, and him on the penalty kill last night, if you look, like, if he's struggling with an ankle to stop and start, you look at that Granlund goal, that's on McDavid. That's a give and go, and Granlund gets the seam between them. You've got to stop and start on those plays. You can't skate and turn. Like, that's why penalty killing is hard. Like, that's why I come back to it. That Carolina penalty kill is the best penalty kill I've ever seen. Like, they were
Roddy Brind'Amour
animals.
played for Peter Laviolette, and Roddy Brind'Amour, if you look at any of Lavi's teams, he adopted the penalty kill because Roddy was Peter Laviolette's main guy killing penalties, and he adopted it. It's the same in the neutral zone, stack at the top, pressure at the blue line. Immense amount of pressure in zone.
Insane.
Peter Laviolette, when Peter Laviolette took over the Carolina Hurricanes, guess what his first meeting was about? The penalty kill. It was all mapped out on the board. This is it was the first thing he said before he even told me that he hated me. Penalty kill. And this is how it's going to go down. That's how important Lavi put on the penalty kill. You've heard Craig Button say, your power play, this and that, but if you don't have a solid penalty kill, like, the penalty kill was Lavi's baby, and it's Roddy's too, and it's the exact same one. They mirror each other.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Well, you're right though about that Edmonton power play. It's not good right now. And
the penalty kill's been awful. That's the difference. The special teams have been the difference in that series because 5-on-5, it's been pretty close. Special teams has killed them, and now we got one.
I'm at number one. Yeah, it's Brandon Hagel. I got Hagel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
slam dunk.
Yeah, it's Hagel, and the guy, he's in the middle of everything. Both his goals were Kucherov, but he's still got to get there and fight for checks and fight for positioning. And Kucherov, the second one was fluky, but at the same time, great players, that's kind of what happens. He's like, I know there's bodies over there. I'm just going to rifle it at the net and hope something works out. It did. But Hagel's in the middle of scrum. You talk about penalty killing. He's maybe the best penalty killer in the league, or real close to it.
Yeah, fighting, doing everything.
Yeah, he's doing everything.
Animal.
Like, Hagel's at the top of the list. So there's your bar play, your updated bar play. There'll be a new list on Thursday.
I love it, boys. I just want to show you this ref pointing at the net one more time quickly before we go to commercial. Joe from the Bridge. Watch the ref. He doesn't have anything on the go, and Brady puts his arms up, and then he just points at the other side of the net. Yep, there it is.
You're right,
goal.
Brady. Yeah, good point, Brady. That's a great point.
He's
he's pointing at the far side of the net, and it's like there's not even a puck in there.
Puck's in Freddie's glove.
It was crazy watching that
Unreal.
stuff.
I love it. All right, Steve Phillips coming up. Savage returns tomorrow. We've got Scherzer on the IL. What does it mean for the rotation? We'll get to that and more next.
Back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Yes, she's a 360 all the way around. Yeah, that's how she rolls.
Hour 2, come on back in, folks. We are sprinting now in hour 2. We're not off and running, we're sprinting. Brian Hayes, Jamie McLennan, Jeff O'Neill. We just had Troy Stecher on, and he got me thinking a little bit. He said the luxurious life of being a Toronto Maple Leaf, it's like we stay in hotels when other teams don't, this and that. Well, maybe what Keith Pelly or Matt Sundin or somebody should do is find out if Colorado does that. I'm not talking about giving them the Cleveland Indians plane and saying there's a new way of doing business around here, but maybe they're just a little bit too coddled, where it's like, fly back home and sleep like everyone else does in the NHL. Maybe you'll just be a little bit more grateful, a little bit more hungry. Maybe that's just one thing that needs to be looked at, because they keep saying how coddled they are and how great it is, but you know what they reward the organization with? Jack squat.
Yeah.
So why keep doing it?
It's an interesting point, because on one side, people are like, well, I don't love what Pelly's doing, and I don't love ownership and MLSE and, blah, blah, blah. And then on the other side, it's like, well, I don't love these players, and they don't ever win. So there's just bitterness kind of everywhere if you're the fans. But I understand what you're saying, because, the team players-only bus where
not necessary. Get on the bus.
No one else really doing that.
That is
But what are they talking
though.
about? Hey, we just lost 7 in a row, boys. Anyway, back to the hotel. We're playing cards tonight.
Yeah,
what
you know
are
what?
they doing
I
on
like
that
the other way
players-only
around
bus?
it, and Steve can talk about it being a GM. I like it the other way, because you know what? You lose, sit on the bus and chew on it, and don't act like everything's fine.
Yeah.
That's how it was for all 82. It's like, man, it's not that fun. You got to be quiet. Players only, God knows what the hell they do on that bus.
And that means no coach staring at you. Remember how tough that was to walk on the bus?
Oh, my God.
You'd walk on the
you
bus.
would scratch the top of your eyebrow on the way by, just so you didn't have to look at them.
You walk on the bus after a tough loss, and you've got a coach giving you the hairy eyeball, or the GM.
And they're always on the bus first, right?
Yeah,
waiting,
of course.
sitting
They're
at the
waiting
front,
for
waiting,
you.
fuming. Here's Steve Phillips, our TSN Baseball Insider. What's that like? Baseball's a different game in a different world. We were just talking about getting on a team bus after a bad loss. How does that work for a GM or a manager in baseball in terms of just staring at players as they get on the bus?
Yeah, I think that 162 games in 187 days, that they try to keep an even keel with it, right? Not too high, not too low. But there is an etiquette, right, when you lose. And it's no music on in the clubhouse. It's quiet voices, no real chatter. Guys quietly get on the bus. Know what they do once they get back to the hotel. I mean, generally my sense was that, the season's such a grind that, guys, if they went out as a team. But it was more team building than I think, not caring. And so, I never really experienced, both from a player's perspective and being in the front office, teams that didn't care, that would goof around and have fun after losses and act inappropriately. And so I have to say that I've been pretty well respected in what baseball players have done after losses.
Steve, wasn't it tough, though? Like this, there's a fine line, and the competitor in you and the competitor in all of us, where say you've had a tough loss, and I get it. You got 162 games, so, I knew a lot of baseball players where the minute the game was over, regardless, win or lose, they were fine. Their attitude was fine. But just didn't you feel like in a tough loss, you didn't want to see a guy who had a tough game laughing it up or yucking it up? Like, I get when there's
100%.
family.
Oh, yeah.
There's that line of, like, professionalism. It's like, just don't let anybody see you do that.
Jamie,
like,
I have the worst one ever for you. In Vancouver, we got pumped, and I know I've told you guys this story before. We got pumped 8-0, and the bus was like a little bit like we were just waiting around for everybody. We were waiting for somebody in the locker room, and I usually gave the locker room attendant $100 to put a case of beer in the back of the bus, and it wasn't back there. Just as the bus turns away, we're pulling out. He hammers on the front of the door. He comes on the bus after an 8-0 drubbing, and he goes, "Oh, dog, I got the beers." And I'm like, oh, my God, dude. Like in front of Jimmy Rutherford and Paul Maurice, and I wanted to kill myself and then him.
Yeah. Dude, you
let us go. You don't have to put the beer on the bus.
100. Keep the cash and the beers.
That's it. Have the beers and the 100 and go away. I was so mortified.
Right. So I will say it reminds me of the one time that it was a big issue. Was we were in the playoffs playing the Atlanta Braves in the league championship series, and we ended up losing. Kenny Rogers walked in the game-winning run that night, and we lost the series. And in the clubhouse, Bobby Bonilla and Ricky Henderson were playing cards. They had both been in the game and out of the game. They were in the clubhouse playing cards when the game ended, and the season ended, and they weren't any part of the team or anything else, and guys were ticked. They were ticked. And so somebody actually leaked it to the media. It became a story. And so that winter, whenever I was going to the banquets and everything else, and I got up to speak, I always got up and said, listen, I said, I've got a lot to say, but I'll keep it brief tonight because it's card night. Bobby, Bo, and Ricky are waiting for me. And so I've got to get there in time to play cards with them that night. But it was a big deal. And Ricky didn't even know. The next year he shows up to spring training. And so our media relations guy and I pull him in and say, listen, the writers all winter have been wanting to get you to talk about you guys playing cards in the clubhouse. He goes, no, don't worry about it. I'll handle it. So the writers come up to him and start to talk to him for the first time that spring. And they go, well, Ricky, where are you coming from? He goes, oh, I'm coming from Vegas. I was playing cards. I'm like, what? Seriously, read the room. And so it was just, it didn't matter. Ricky could get away with whatever, and people would just write it off as just Ricky being Ricky.
Steve, we toss around a lot of stupid ideas on this show, and earlier in the first hour I asked Brian if he was running the Blue Jays, and the Mets picked up the phone and called him and said,
you've got to keep an open mind about every possibility. You can always say no at the end, but, yeah, I'd listen to see what they might be willing to talk about and how it could piece together. I mean, I don't want to pay them $42 million a year for this year and the next 2 years after it, but I would listen if they wanted to whittle that down in a way and it made sense. And, the shorter-term deal makes all the sense in the world from a GM's perspective. That if you can whittle it down to a 2-year, 2.5 years left in the deal, and it's at the price point where it would have made sense for me, then I think I go to ownership and say, hey, listen, we've got a chance to try to do this. What do you think? I would keep an open mind about that. I mean, the Mets have so many issues right now going on, and it may be that they're soon looking for a manager as well as the pressure on Carlos Mendoza there. They're 9-19. They got swept in a doubleheader by the Rockies. The Rockies swept the series. Lindor got hurt on the day that Soto came back. It can't get worse, it doesn't feel like right now. Actually the Red Sox are in a better place than the Mets are at this stage.
Right, and they're in town tonight, and Cora's out, and Chad Tracy's in on the interim in terms of management or managing the Sox tonight. And, if you're the GM of the Jays, you've been put to work here. And Ross Atkins is making moves. Trey Savage coming up tomorrow. He's going to make his season debut tomorrow against the Sox. And Scherzer placed on the 15-day IL with right forearm tendonitis and left ankle inflammation. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but if he had a 3 ERA, I would suggest that tendonitis and inflammation would be fine, and he'd still be pitching. He really has struggled here. What do you see the future of Scherzer being with this team, Steve? And on top of that, how do you expect Savage to work his way in starting tomorrow night?
Yeah, so I think that with Scherzer, I kind of thought the same thing, like how hurt is he? And then I thought, well, I'm sure things hurt on him right now, and so I'm not surprised by it. And I really wasn't surprised by the IL stint. You can't option him to the minors. You aren't going to release him because you might as well just, if there's something that is nagging, then you do put him on the injured list. And then what you do is you rehab him, send him on a rehab start or 2 or 3 or 4, and then read what your need is because it's what you may need that pitcher again. Now, they're going to start getting healthier, and hopefully Barrios will be back in at some point soon. That Beaver's progressing, and they'll have too much pitching to where they've got issues there. But for the time being, if Scherzer is aching, it makes all the sense in the world to put him on the injured list. Protect your depth right now, and for you, Savage, mostly I want him to throw strikes. I think that if he throws strikes and works ahead in the count, he'll get by. Even if he's not perfect with his command, if you work ahead in the count, you keep the hitters on the defensive, then you can induce soft contact, let alone swing and miss. So, he can't be tentative. He's got to come in being aggressive. That would be the message that I would make sure. Come in there, do your thing, and they'll probably let him only go about 75, 80 pitches first time back, and maybe they'll piggyback, Lauer on the back end, or they'll protect him some with some length there. But it's good to get him back in the mix. And again, a guy's first start coming back from injury, I never put a whole lot of stock in what is a fair expectation on it, but it'd be nice to get him back out there and having some success, because it would make the Jays start to feel like, oh yeah, this is who we thought we were going to be, and it's starting to come around now.
Steve, they blew out Hoffman as the closer. Why did Schneids waste so many of his breath saying, I have so much faith in this guy, and if there was ever a chance to close a game, I'm going on. What is the psychology of him doing that and saying that when a game later they're just like, we can't have this guy as the closer? Why do they? And it bothers me in management and pro sports where people keep falling in love, they're so in love with their own ideas that they're oblivious to the outcomes in making change that they can never do it. Why did it take so long for this?
Yeah, I think that, they do it because they want to try to convince the player while they're probably trying to convince themselves. And I think that they just want to keep pumping confidence and trying to get him to believe in himself. And look, there's no way once he started blowing saves that they had that much confidence in him, but you say it because you want him to believe it to try to get back on track. It's the best way to support a player to get him on track. Problem is that how many times do you do it before you lose credibility when doing it, both to him and to others? And so, and look, Ross Atkins, right from the beginning of the offseason, kept saying, no, Hoffman's going to be our closer next year. Hoffman's going to be our closer next year. And I kept thinking, and he said, we got all the confidence in the world. And I kept thinking, but why? It just is, as a baseball fan, when your closer has 16 decisions, he was 9-7. That's not a great thing for a closer.
Crazy stat.
Nice, but it means you get right. You can't have 16 decisions as a closer. and then we had some blown saves this year. I think, there's a way to say we want to rebuild him. He's important to our team. He's still going to get some big outs for us. We're going to use him in leverage situations again. But right now for the ninth inning, we're going to go with somebody else. And I think that that's what, they finally got to that point. And not a surprise for Varland that it took him a couple times. It wasn't easy the first two times for him to work through it. Had base runners, and it got a little dicey, but he got through it. And he'll find a rhythm that he can get into to be able to be successful.
Great catching up with you, Steve. Enjoy the games tonight. We'll do it again later in the week.
Okay, guys, my pleasure. Anytime.
Steve Phillips, our TSN Baseball Insider, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Jays, Sox tonight. Dylan Cease on the mound. You Savage tomorrow. Varland's, had 2 saves over the weekend. He's had 3 saves in their last 5 wins. So, he had to grind on Saturday, but he looks good. Yeah. He's had a great season so far, and he's kind of taken over that role as of now. Jays Sox tonight, Game 5 Raptors, Cleveland coming up after a big, big weekend at home for the Raps. Best bets coming up. We'll recap a busy afternoon. OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live. Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. I'm on Pitt tonight. I'm on Pitt.
Oh, yeah?
I'm on Pitt to extend the series tonight.
Side hunch.
Done. I think
I'll be
coming
texting
home,
you. You just got. I'm going to text you all night long.
I'm telling you. I think she loves you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you think she loves us?
She loves is turning into a pumpkin tonight, my guy.
I think he plays well again tonight.
Well, Sid can be a difference.
And Sid, I think, shows up, man. That's exactly it. Back in Pitt. Philly's still raw, man. Like, they're raw. Everything was breaking their way the first 3 games. They earned it, but I think Pitt pushes back tonight. Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Same game parlays available for every Stanley Cup playoff game on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly, 18+, physically located in Ontario. So you got those games tonight. Utah, Vegas, I don't have a great read on that game. Like, it's must win for Vegas, but I don't know.
Well, the thing is Vegas was out shooting them 11-2 to start last game, and then Utah scores right away, and then they took over the game. And it just seemed like, that was Carter Hart didn't have his best game. But it seemed like everything that was getting thrown at the net went in. So, I mean, Vegas will have a response tonight. But Utah's no joke, man. Mm-hmm. They can skate. They got skill, especially in that building. Now, the Rash was there the other night. Tyson Nash, I saw on his Instagram, he was talking about how the building was popping and that. It did look like it had a pretty cool atmosphere. I will say that.
Listen, we could be Utah-Anaheim in the second round.
That'd be interesting.
That will be wild if you see those two. Who saw that coming? If Edmonton's in big trouble. Like Jari going in, do you go back to Ingram for Game 5?
Well, I'm not blaming anything here. I'm not blaming, but I said it a month ago with Struddy, and I said, guys, 4 a night's too many. 4 and 5 a night's too many. However they're going in the net, it's too many, and they're still going in like that. So you have no chance.
Well, they don't defend.
Right. However they're going in, Jamie, it doesn't matter. I'm not laying blame anywhere. But at the end of the night, it seems like there's 4 or 5 or 6. And all the Oilers fans were chirping me saying, you just hate – I don't hate anybody. I love the Oil. I love Jesus. He's one of the best players that's ever played. But you can't have 5 going in your net every night, man.
They have been all year.
Yes.
They haven't been very good all year.
I said it on the playoff preview show. They might be out of magic tricks.
I thought they'd beat Anaheim. I mean, I can't sit here and
no
pretend
kidding.
Like
but
I thought
said,
they would beat
just
Anaheim.
be careful. You might be out of magic tricks. Going down 3-1, 0-2, and they sure as you know what, they've done it again. And now they need another magic trick.
They do. And I don't know if they have it. They're not healthy and they don't look real good. I mean, last night was a coin flip game.
Yes.
But they need to have a response.
But they had a
tomorrow.
2-0 lead too, right, Noodles?
Well, that's a 2-0 and 3-2. You got to find a way, and those are self-inflicted. Draisaitl doesn't get that puck out on the 3-2.
That's
3-2,
right.
The 3-3 goal.
He wasn't very good last night. He struggled too.
They need more.
All right, boys. Good stuff. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, and, of course, up on YouTube Live. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at
4 p.m.
We'll chat then.